Hey good people, and welcome back to the channel. In a few moments, I'm going to share my thoughts and feelings on the movie Allure Part 1. Allure Part 1 stars Young Jock, Blue Kimball, and Crystal the Doll, and it's a true Tubi movie that involves kidnapping and blackmail. And after watching this movie, giving it an honest rating is a little difficult, because in my opinion, it would depend on what your expectations might be prior to watching the movie for the first time. If you're looking for a movie that has major shock value and an abundance of WTF moments, then I would gladly give this movie a 10 out of 10 because it truly delivers on all those aspects. However, and I do mean however, if you're going into this movie and you attempt to use over 10% of your brain when trying to understand the storytelling and the character motivations, then I would give this movie a solid 3. Now, to understand why I give this movie a solid 3, allow me to elaborate on how I felt about the storytelling. The movie starts with Omega and Shawn talking in the car. It's quickly established that they are good friends, and Shawn gives Omega a stack of money out of admiration for their friendship and Omega's loyalty to Shawn. A little bit later in the movie, Shawn is driving and he blows past the red light. The police are waiting at a nearby intersection and they pull Shawn over. The responding officers automatically assume that Shawn and Omega are rappers, and they ask the two men to step out of the car. Now, this is not typical police procedure, especially before the police have had time to identify the vehicle occupants or assess whether the occupants pose a danger to their safety. But the police then proceed to conduct an illegal search, and they find a gun which belongs to Omega. Shawn immediately claims that the gun is his, and he's taken into custody before the police beat the hell out of him for mouthing off. Now, this entire series of events will be a slam dunk case for any defense attorney. An illegal search of the car, coupled with a classic case of police brutality, a good lawyer would have gotten the gun and weed charge tossed right then and there. But the gun they found in the car had a switch on it. And for those that don't know, a switch is simply an upgrade which transforms a regular handgun into a semi-automatic or automatic weapon. But in this movie, Shawn's high-priced attorney tells him that he's looking at 10 to 15 years for just the gun charge, but she'll try to get him 8 to 10 years. Here's my problem with that. This part of the movie takes place in 2011, and back then, there were no specific federal laws that targeted the possession of guns with the switch. Nowadays, this type of gun charge would get somebody a minimum of 5 years and a maximum of 10 years. But back then, this specific issue wasn't a big deal, and it's hard to believe that any judge would give Shawn the maximum sentence and require that Shawn complete the entire sentence without any considerations. But Shawn's high-priced lawyer couldn't get the gun charge thrown out, and in this movie, Shawn did a plea deal which got him 13 years. Which also means that Shawn could have gotten him one of those cheap public defenders and only did 2 more years. So while Shawn is locked up, fighting for his life and his virginity, his boy Omega never visits him while he's locked up. And I can understand why Shawn would hold some kind of animosity towards him and anybody else who turned their back on him. But when Shawn gets out of prison, he learns about Omega and his ex-girlfriend Lindsay's treachery, and he plots his revenge on them. Now, you see, good people, at this time in the movie, I could completely empathize with Shawn, and I wanted Shawn to get his lick back with interest. But the movie doesn't go in that direction. The movie gives Omega plot armor that is made out of vibranium, and Omega is able to survive any and every impossible situation while trying to get his daughter back from Shawn. Now, there were several head-scratching moments in the movie for me. The first was with the character Jay. Jay is Lindsay's brother, and he picks Shawn up on the day that he is released from prison, which also coincides with the birthday of Omega and Lindsay's 12-year-old daughter. What are the odds? Jay knows that he has to attend his niece's birthday party, but he also has Shawn with him. So what does Jay do? Jay drives Shawn to the birthday party and instructs Shawn to stay in the car while he goes inside to celebrate the birthday. But of course, the movie comes up with a reason for Shawn to get out of the car and learn about Omega, Lindsay, and their daughter. Had Jay just dropped Shawn off before attending the party, or if he agreed to skip the party altogether, then we might not even have a movie. But here we are. Another head-scratching moment in the movie would have to be Omega and Diego's first interaction. Diego is a hotshot cartel boss, and he visits Omega during the birthday party. The purpose for Diego's visit was to inquire about a business proposition, but Omega politely declines, which is a huge red flag. Here you have a cartel boss who has more firepower than an army base, showing up at your daughter's birthday party with a business offer, and your response to him is to tell him no? And after Omega says no, Diego makes a veiled threat about Omega needing his help in the future that Omega does not take seriously. Now, Omega does not come off as a dumb character, but in this scene, he was completely aloof to the consequences of his actions and how he might have put his own family in danger, which made it hard for me to root for Omega to win. Speaking of why it was hard to root for Omega to win, we have to address the situation between him and Shawn. Now granted, children should be off limits when it comes to revenge and blackmail plots that have nothing to do with them. But if we're keeping it real, then we gotta call a spade a spade. Omega owed Shawn way more than a few $1,000,000. Omega took Shawn's money, stole his woman, turned his back on Shawn and Shawn's time of need, and anything else that would be considered a serious violation of the bro code. So something needed to be done to Omega. And to be fair, Shawn got some revenge against Omega by getting at the folks that were closest to him, since he couldn't get Omega. But when the movie ended, it felt like Shawn and Lindsay didn't learn anything from their mistakes, and it looked like Omega wasn't going to face any repercussions for all the people that he crossed in order to get his daughter back. I know that this movie will have a sequel or two that might explain some of these plot points, but it will be hard for somebody like me to take the movie seriously if Omega doesn't face some sort of harsh blowback for all his actions in the movie. But these are my thoughts on Allure Part 1, and I'd like to know what you all think about the movie. Have you seen the movie? And if so, did you like it or dislike it? Feel free to leave all comments below in the comment section, and I'll be sure to reply to everybody. Until next time, stay tuned and stay safe. Peace.